See the pillar in the distance there now, and you think, oh, that's just a good-looking pillar, until you see it with people next to it, and you realize that this is a monster pillar. So what's so special about this pillar? Obviously the size, as I've just mentioned, but it is also one piece of stone, hence it's referred to as a megalith. If that is not enough, the stone is actually rose granite, which is rated at 7 on the Mohs scale of rock hardness, with diamond being at the top and marble being about 3 and alabaster being like 1.5 to 2. So this stone is hard, really, really hard. It would not be easy to cut, but this pillar is not only cut, but it's also shaped perfectly. And just to make this task even more impossible, is where this megalith came from. Its source was a quarry in Aswan, which is 820 kilometers away as the crow flies, but a lot further if it's transported along the winding Nile. The weight is estimated at over 280 tons, and the challenge of transporting it would have been immense. I visited that same quarry, and I was really surprised to see that the route from the quarry to the Nile was not even very easy either. There was quite a hill in front, so not only did they have to get it from the Nile all the way up, but they had to get it up and over a hill before it even reached the Nile. So that, in my opinion, is a very big challenge. As for the tools, well, the Egyptologists, they had on display some pounding boulders for working on the stone, and of course copper chisels were always mentioned too. It actually strains the mind just to imagine it, because it's just so ridiculous. So, it's rated as one of the largest monoliths in the world, and it is certainly the largest monolithic column. It is from one of the hardest stone. It's shaped perfectly, maintained in one piece, and transported long distance. If it could have easily been moved, it would already have been stolen already by one of the, let's say, more modern countries. Pompey's pillar, or the Pillar of Pompeii, actually had absolutely nothing to do with Pompeii. It accidentally got linked to Pompeii through some kind of mistranslation. The accepted history is that it was a triumphal pillar for the Emperor Diocletian in about 300 AD. It had a statue on top of it of the emperor in full armor and posing triumphantly, as you would expect. A tile was actually found that's believed to show the statue in situ on the pillar. So this is actually the tile itself that I'm showing you now. Now, I don't doubt that the pillar was in fact used for that purpose, but the Romans were kind of notorious for reusing items that they found. If the Romans actually had the skill to create pillars of this size in one piece, rather than as stacked drums of stone blocks, then I'm pretty sure they would have done more of that sort of thing. What do you think about that? So, how big is it? When it had its statue on it, it would have been well over 100 feet, but as it now stands, it's probably closer to 88 feet, or maybe just under 27 meters. It was erected on the site of the Serapeum of Alexandria. Anyway, Serapis is supposed to be a city guardian god, and so it's interesting how Diocletian chose to take on that same title, but without the god bit. So he wanted to be called a city guardian. His statue was in bits by the 18th century, and it was found, scattered around on the floor, and where it is now, no one knows. It has since disappeared, and it's probably gone into the collection of, into private collections around the world, but that's just a guess. Okay, so let's cut to the chase. What do I actually think about this pillar? Well, in my opinion, this is an artifact of a much earlier epoch. Earlier even than the dynastic Egyptians. I know that might sound crazy, but hear me out. I believe that it was transported to Alexandria at the time of the building of the Serapeum as a statement to note the importance of the place, but I think it was much, much older than when it was put in place for the Serapeum. I think that the dynastic Egyptians first reused it, and I think that it was later reused again by the Romans, so they could make their statue be seen from quite a long way away. It really stood out. And then you find things like this pillar, which isn't flat and isn't straight. It's a bit on the rough side. And it's like they've bought all these different bits and pieces that they found and plonked them all down here in the same place. You can see bits of all kinds of stone, bits of obelisk, bits of statues, bits of pillars, and bits. Some are clearly Egyptian and some are Roman, but the actual site has a very strong Roman kind of feel to it. But, there's just things like this lying around, just waiting to be admired, I guess. And it's quite a surprisingly large site, and there was very few people there. It was not like what we experienced in Cairo with massive amounts of people, everywhere. But the pillar, it was perfect. And as you can see, it was utterly gigantic. And it was just such an impressive item. I just couldn't stop staring at it. It was just amazing. Wow, what a pillar. That's really a pillar of the community, huh? Okay, not a good joke, but best I can do.